since the conclusion of EVO 2024, tons of new players have been coming into Tekken 8, and maybe they're returning players, maybe they've been part of the scene before. And if you're here, welcome. We're all having a good time, mostly. I'm sure that if you've been playing the game for a while now, you'll realize that this game is really, really hard, and it's supposed to be. Even the best of the best in the world are struggling in these tournaments, and I want to use this video as an opportunity to cover a match that can hopefully give you some guidance in this game that has so much depth, so much breadth. It's an insanely complex game, but the more you learn, the simpler it becomes. And I'm hopeful that going over a bunch of pro matches where they're struggling with adjusting to Tekken 8 can help inform this. So the match I want to look at is the top 24 winners side match from EVO 2024. The winner of this match instantly qualifies for top 6. They get to go in the big arena on the big stage and show up on around the world. Like, EVO is watched so much compared to other tournaments. It's kind of like it feels kind of like our Olympics, where people that normally don't watch fighting games will probably see EVO matches. So getting on stage on stream is obviously really big, but also winning this title is very prestigious. This is like our world championship. Happens every year, not every 4 years, but yeah, so this is Lowhigh versus Raef. Lowhigh is a Tekken World Tour champion and an EVO champion in the past. Raef doesn't have a title to his own yet, Raef from Saudi Arabia, but he consistently has been showing up on the world stage, especially towards the end of Tekken 7. So what I want to do is we're going to go through this match, and I'm going to give you some insight on how these players are playing and why it's so difficult. But before we do that, I want to give you some background information, right? So Jin versus Steve has historically been, I think, almost universally seen as Steve favored, right? Jin has all these big giant moves, the electric wind hook fist, his counter hit forward right kick, forward 4, and demon paw, forward 2, a bunch of these huge giant hitboxes that are high reward, but they're slower. Steve has a bunch of super fast counter hit moves. So it was always really hard for Jin to get started when Steve could just threaten launching him with a quick 13 frame back 1. So that's not really the case in Tekken 8. So playing anti-Jin is, I think, universally seen as harder, for sure. For one, his pokes are better. His simple pokes, like down forward 1, are a lot stronger. He's got really quick while standing punishment now with while standing 4-4. His jab isn't as stubby. His 2-1 is really, really good. It was already really good, but the fact that the last hit, 2-1-4, can counter hit, knockdown, is extremely strong. Secondly, his lows are harder to react to. So Korean players and really, really fast, really cracked players will make Jin feel like his lows are useless. He has the hell sweep that knocks down. The best of the best could react to it. His down back 4, the stature kick, the best of the best could react to it. But in this game, those players are struggling to react to Jin doing it. It could be PS5 latency, it could be nerves, but I think consistently across the world, I've seen players who can react to it no longer be able to react to it. And then he has these new robbery tools that he didn't necessarily have before. So if you were spamming highs on Jin to kind of control him, like jab strings and things like that, he now has down 2, right? And if he counter hits, he gets a full launch. And a launch on Jin is very, very valuable because his heat does so much damage. So if you're down half a life bar, Jin is potentially putting you at lethal. And then he also has Black Wing Rondo. That's like his big, he does like a backflip and jumps in the air. I can't even know how to describe the move. But this move is insanely evasive. It jumps over lows, the stance ducks under highs and some mids. So even before, where if you try to apply the strategy from Tekken 7, where you did a bunch of small moves to kind of control him, he can suddenly rob you with these moves. So that presents a threat that makes it harder to consistently control Jin. And then finally, whereas before he kind of had to hit an electric or a counter hit to really get a giant reward, now he has safe mid launchers. So in heat, forward 2 becomes a full launcher, and his heat smash when there's a wall nearby is like devastating. The wall doesn't even have to be nearby. If you've been on Twitter, you can see Jin can wall splat you from like halfway across the stage, right? So once Jin's in heat, you're at gunpoint. And he still has all his giant moves from before. He still has his better pokes, and he still has these robbery tools. So anti-Jin is not as easy to apply as it was in the previous game. On top of that, anti-Steve I think is a bit easier in Tekken 7. So they've nerfed his back 1, it doesn't end the round anymore, and they've nerfed low parry universally. And Steve relied on these a lot, because if Steve could get a low parry and put you at the wall, he gets the nasty mix-up of QCF1, a safe mid wall splat, and his stomp, which would knock down. Now, low parry not only does less damage, you can't get as long of a combo, so you can't get to the wall as easily, and it's all gray health. Similarly, when he hits a counter hit back one, his 13 frame high launcher, it's mostly gray health damage. And that means the opponent can attack you to heal up again, or they can go into heat and attack your block and heal even more. And as we said, Jin's lows are harder to react to, and you can poke better. The combination of all this means Steve's damage doesn't stick as well. And then another weakness that Steve is really struggling with, and Steve players are, is that it's easier to sidestep block against his hitboxes, right? So Steve is supposed to have a homing move in this up back two. It's like a high homing. You'll see the like homing streaks behind his arm. High homing right punch. But it is easy to sidestep block so that you will avoid his down forward one and still block the high. So Steve doesn't have good options if the opponent is doing quick sidestep guards in neutral. The best thing you can do for that is let them finish their sidestep and then try to counter hit them after. But as you'll see with Jin, he has so many threats and ways to blow you up that it's scary to commit to that, right? And on top of that, the Korean style generally prefers not to play rock, paper, scissors. They like to use clean defense and solid movement to download the way you play the game and your timings and really just shut you down and make it feel super impossible, right? They go for this really consistent style of play that Tekken 8 doesn't reward as much. So we'll cover these takeaways again at the end of the game, but I want you to have these in mind as you're watching this match. You can't avoid the rock, paper, scissors in this game, right? You can't sit and wait for the perfect moment to counter hit your opponent or block all their moves, unless you're using a cheat bot or something, right? But you have to attack, and you have to impose your game plan on the opponent, even when you're playing a counter hit character like Steve. He has attacks, he has pokes that do permanent damage, and you need to be using those to restrict when your opponent can attack you. And if you get counter hit when trying to do that, it's okay, right? You start to understand more of what your opponent wants. You also can't sit there and let your opponent do strings on you because they've buffed strings so much in this game. It's no longer the case where you can just sit there, have really good string defense, and your opponent can't hit you. They've buffed strings in Tekken 8 so that there are real mix-ups now. There's the duckable high, and the mid. The strings are usually structured so that they have duckable highs or mids in the middle of the string. And Jin, especially with Laser Scraper, has a duckable high and a mid that's safe and goes into stance. So you can't sit there. You have to answer it either preemptively or make a read on the high, make him go mid. Tons of interaction you have to do, whereas before in Tekken 7 you didn't have to. You could just wait. And finally, you will see at the end of this match that the Tekken 7 trauma is so real. No matter how we're only 4, 5, 6 months into this game, right? Depending on how long you've played it. These pros have been playing for about 6 months now, as of the time I'm recording this video. And they've spent years cultivating the Tekken 7 style of playing high percentage, playing safe, and keeping it consistent. Tekken 8 is blowing that style out of the water. The way that we play needs to be changed. I've talked for a long time. Let's check out this match now. First to 2. The winner immediately qualifies for top 6. Let's full screen this.
And it's going to be Steve Fox for Lowhigh to try to qualify. Yes.
So Lowhigh doesn't play Steve all the time. He usually plays Dragunov as well, but his Steve is very, very good. Throw's broken, but it's good to put out. Back one, counter hit while standing one, and 1-2, 1-2 hits, right? Despite the threats of Jin's counter hits, like down 2 there, 1-2, 1-2, look at the reward. Look at how much HP he has that's all permanent. He hasn't even hit a counter hit back one yet. Counter hit down forward 2, down forward 1. Right, so Lowhigh, not afraid to put out the hitboxes. This is looking good so far. This is what you want. Big whiff there, but Lowhigh canceled the stance early. Austin 1-2 finish, that's fine. The punish doesn't hurt too badly. Jin's throwing out big moves. He gets counter hit down forward 2. Raef gets swindled, ducking the back one, but then the extension of the string hits. Nice combo from Lowhigh. Okay, goes for a heat. He wanted to get the heat dash in that combo, I think, to kill. Messed up, but it's fine. And then whiff punishes the heat burst from too far. Now look at this situation here. How did Lowhigh get this launch? How did Lowhigh get this launch here? Well, what Raef is doing, Raef is interacting with the back one in a very read-based way, very aggressive. So he sees the back one whiff, and he ducks in case the second hit comes out, right? Steve is a back 1-2. The second hit is high. Raef is ducking on the timing the 2 would come out, the high, and then he sees, like he's pretty certain that the high went through. So he immediately starts doing his attack, his punish, right? He stands up and does, I think it's a down back 4 or like some kind. Oh no, he's doing standing 4. He's doing standing 4. So he ducks in the timing the high would come, and immediately he's putting out his attack. But they gave Steve this like mini mix up now. So back 1, 2, 1, and he cancels the high into a counter hit mid. That was a nice little mix up from Lowhigh, and then he finishes up the round here when Raef does this heat burst, but is way out of range. He tries to cancel it. Sonic Fang whiff punishes. So going into round 3, Lowhigh has a ton of momentum. Everything he's doing is working. Raef hasn't gotten anything started, so he finds a low parry. Jab combo. Doesn't get to the wall, but good carry. Down 4-2. And this is instructive of the low parry now. If I'm going to rewind real quick, look at this. This is a whole low parry combo. Look at how low the damage is. So it's not so bad. What's advantageous here is the wall position. So Steve is going to have to fight his way out. And you'll see Lowhigh plays it very chill. Just blocking and sidestepping to the left, trying to get out of that wall. And look, now the wall is completely reversed. Not committing to forcing an attack. He doesn't have to take his mix-up right away. He just has to get out of here or else that will happen, right? So cool at a high level, you see them jockey for position, not just damage. Because the position can affect how safely you can fight back or force your offense. 1-2, 1-2, gets ducked under. Raef is ducking a lot because it's so effective against Steve's highs. Heat burst, back to the wall. Again, very ugly. And beautiful rage art from Lowhigh. Rage art has a bit of damage reduction. So because he did the rage art, that down forward one didn't kill and actually kills Raef. Now, prior to that, Raef had been playing pretty well, right? You'll see that Jin does this down 4. This is so effective. It goes under Steve's counter hit launcher. It goes under 1-2, 1-2. It's one of his fastest lows. It's so crucial to use in this matchup, right? So Raef was actually really cooking here with that poke. Survives the back 1 attempt, does the heat dash. It's 1 hit away, but that damage reduction literally made 1 pixel of a difference. So Lowhigh's looking really, really good. The Steve is looking really clean. Both players come up to coach. I have mixed feelings about coaching the player who already won. I feel like you should just let him do his thing. But, you know, what do I know? I'm not the one on stage here, okay? I'm not the one sitting in top 24. Lowhigh backdashing a bit, and this to me is already kind of a questionable sign, right? He's already moving backwards when we talked about how you need to kind of put out attacks, right? And you'll see that Raef starts taking advantage of this. Raef playing a lot smaller now while standing 4-4, and Lowhigh's at half HP just off of these pokes. Right, Lowhigh's just moving a lot. But before we saw 1-2, 1-2, we saw counter hit down 4-2, we saw the Swindler back 1-2, 1. Now he's keeping it really tiny, misses a punish here. And he's just not winning enough HP, not threatening Raef enough. And then he loses round 1. Look at this situation here too. This is a fun little Steve nuance. As of the latest buffs to Steve, I think 2 patches ago, Steve can punish this with while standing Sonic Fang, the 1+2. But Steve has had the same punishes for so long that nobody's used to punishing like that yet, even at the top level. So Lowhigh seeming to pump the brakes a little bit, and Raef is filling that space with his offense. So down 2-1, I like this. Immediately attacking back. Down forward 1. The grab goes unbroken because of the counter hit. If you get a counter hit thrown, the window shrinks to break it. There's Jin's laser scraper into stance. That string is so good in this game. Blocks the string. Nice patience from Lowhigh. Down forward 2. Standing 4. The grab does not catch the heat burst in time. That would have been guaranteed. Luckily, he doesn't get whiff punish for that. But he tried to interact on the down back 4. And the 2-1 hit him. Right, the down back 4 is +3, so you really have to kind of sit still there. The 2-1 will track. While standing 1-2. Counter hit. Standing 4. Luckily, no launch. And Lowhigh hard ducked. Why would Lowhigh duck here? Because Jin's sweep also breaks the floor. So this 50-50 is so nasty on this stage. The stage hazard heavily favors Jin. And look at these down 4s. Suddenly, Steve can't seem to get anything started. Here's a heat engage. This is really good, but he gets jabbed out. He gets jabbed out because of the threat of Jin's parry. I'll cover that in a sec. Back to good mash. All permanent health. Gets the right 50-50 on this clinch grab. Heat dash. 1-hit situation. And the hell sweep hits. Lowhigh misses the reaction. Once again, Korean players have built their style to be able to react to Jin's lows. So when that reaction fails, you'll see them get hit a lot. Now look at this situation here. So Jin runs up here. Jin runs up after a little wave dash, right? The hell sweep will break the floor and give him a combo. The mid will combo and give him the floor break. So either way, he's kind of screwed here. He goes for a hard duck and misses the 50-50. Again, because reacting to the hell sweep is harder, he has to guess. If he doesn't want to just throw a back one or something. Right? Forward, forward, forward. And then look at this. Double down 4 from Raef. Extremely effective here. This was crucial to just get around that counter hit high. If Raef chose anything else, like a slower move, he would have gotten launched. Steve has a chance to come back. So double down 4 is really nice. The low parry, not enough damage. I like this low from Steve. It is launch punishable, but I think Steve has to use it to get a lot of damage threat, to go under highs, and attack from a range that he normally doesn't attack from. I think this low is crucial from Steve. You'll see Numan Chowdhury from Pakistan use this low a lot. Because if you have to hard commit to that duck against Steve, he gets a lot more options. QCF1, really, really nice. And why does Jin jab here? Why does Jin if he got heat engaged upon, he's like at -17. Right? Steve has a 17 frame advantage. Why in his right mind would he jab here? Because Jin is one of the few characters who can actually parry Steve's running 2, right? So Lowhigh delays it to avoid getting parried. Raef is a known parrier. He loves Jin's parry. If he did it immediately, Jin can parry and launch him and end the round. So Lowhigh tries to delay it, and Raef is on the next level of the mind game. He's like, he's going to delay it because he's afraid of the parry. I'm just going to mash. So this is a instructive example for playing the RPS, right? A consistent player might just block, right? Instead of parry or block. But Raef is willing to play the rock, paper, scissors. He's making the bet that, yeah, you're going to delay it because you're afraid of my parry. I'm going to hit you for it, right? He's taking the balls out approach. Balls on the table, I will hit you and I might die for this. And that's fine. And how do you fight somebody like that? How do you fight somebody who doesn't seem like they're afraid of dying? And that, to me, is instructive in how the next round goes, right? Final round, final game on the arena, smaller stage, the walls are a bigger threat. Let's look at how Lowhigh tries to adjust to this. All right, Jin is doing a ton of big moves, so Lowhigh puts out his counter hit down forward 2. Right, just moving around a bit, gets clipped by a back 4, doesn't block the low, survives the mid. Back 1 coming out, playing a bit more range here, kind of inviting Jin in. The grab is guaranteed when the parry whiffs. While standing 2-2. Doesn't go into a mix-up. Swindles him again. You should keep running that. It keeps working. That's so good. Yep, does the heat smash just to keep it safe. Doesn't need to do a complicated combo here. Doesn't want to drop the combo. Blackwing Rondo. That's the move I'm talking about. If Lowhigh decided to swing right here, any move, back 1, down forward 1, he would have had to do a low. But even then, look at this. Look at how low he gets. Jin is down there. He evades almost anything. And if you're too slow, he jumps over your low. So the reason why this move exists or is allowed to do that is because it's launch punishable. It's minus what, 15, minus 16. Let's look at this. We have a chat bot in here actually. I think if I type Jin Zen up 1, look at that. You can see that there, minus 16. So Steve can't launch this. The best he could do is forward 1 plus 2. I don't think instant peekaboo up forward 2 is practical in this sense. So it's a good decision from Raef. It's a high percentage decision. It doesn't get him murdered, and he gets the chance to win the entire round, basically. So Raef trying to play small again, but Lowhigh beating him back with the down forward 1s. Doesn't interact with this 1-2-4, 1-2-3 nonsense. Just down forward 1s, playing slow. Low parry on the down 1. Really, really nice. Right. Combo. Heat dash. 1 Gatling gun punch missed, so he's at 1 pixel and survives, but his string defense is so solid. Perfect Korean Tekken from what we're seeing, right? Don't hit me with your strings, I got defense. But as we said, Raef is not afraid to play the rock, paper, scissors. So if Lowhigh's waiting for the low parry and just doing down forward 1s, what is Raef going to do? Gets low blocked, whiff there. Down forward 4, and then goes for laser scraper to track. And you'll notice that Lowhigh didn't duck this here. Now, back forward 2, there's a high here. That's duckable, but the mid is so strong that usually people just don't interact with it. Okay, Lowhigh going low. I love that. Got to pressure the HP and make him interact. 2-1-4. Really hard to interact with that string from Jin. Wow, everything is hitting. Tons of black health. Nothing to heal for Steve. Forward dash, forward dash. This is not looking good. Lowhigh is just moving. He's not putting out his hitboxes. He gets a great low parry there, which kind of justifies that neutral he was playing before. But in my opinion, it's better to continue threatening the HP. He gets clipped by the spring kick, clipped by the standing 4, and then back 2-1 clips him again. A little too active trying to end the round, I believe. Just everything was just hitting. So Raef gets on the board. We see Lowhigh shrinking his style, reducing the amount of attacks he's doing. So he starts attacking again, and Jin evades it. Okay, out of range of the down back 4. Underneath, that's really good. Uh-oh. The lows are coming out. Lowhigh can't react to these for some reason. It could be the setup, it could be PS5, it could be Tekken 8, but for whatever reason, these lows are not getting blocked. Heat Burst, Jin has a great wall position. 1-2-1 is really good. Fighting back out of the wall. Look at all of these pokes that Steve has a hard time finding a back 1 timing on. Forward dash. That's a throw break. He gets punished. They're both playing so small. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Nice block on the low finally. 1-2, 1-3. Lowhigh just almost frozen blocking. But it's the final round. It's not over. Raef playing 1-3, which should be low parried on reaction. Whiff there, no punish. It did look like it was going to hit his block. Down back 4. Down forward 1-4. Down forward 2. He's chipping away with the duck forward 2. Raef is just winning all these pokes. It's looking so bad. Lowhigh was looking so good the first 2 rounds, and now he's literally 1 launch from death. That could have killed. Well, not literally, but you know. Down 4. Now he's in rage, but a crucial back 1. Awkward combo. He saves it by doing back 1 into the immediate machine gun punches. He floats him. He can die here, but he doesn't get the combo. It's not over. It's 1 pixel. Raef driving the pressure now. Dive kick. Lowhigh is completely frozen and gets hell swept. And Raef does a Fall Guys pop-off. Honestly, what a situation. That was so painful to watch from how dominant Lowhigh was playing, and it took me many watch-throughs of this to try and understand why this happened, and I don't know if I have a complete answer. Again, I'm not the one sitting on the top 24 stage. I'm the one sitting on my chair talking about it after the fact, but I have a few ideas of why this happened. So you'll notice, let's look back to understand this. Let's look back at round 1. The very first round they played, look at how Lowhigh played, right? I think this style is very close to how Steve is supposed to play. Down forward 1. Backdashing a bit, sure, but 1-2, 1-2, just finishing the string. Forward dashing into grab, back 1. Look at all of these 1-2, 1-2s while standing 1s. He decides to go for the stomp, right? Like, I love this. He's putting out, like, how can Raef get started? He cannot find anything. Gets counter hit down forward 2 and then dives. Right, let's look at round 2.
Should be closer, you know, on paper at least. Yeah, for sure.
Right, over here. Back 1 in the open. Flicker 2. While standing 1-2, just rips it, you know. See, vibe check. Are you going to mash or not? Counter hit down forward 2. Back 1-2-1 swindler. Full combo. We can skip the combo. He messes up the combo a little bit. 1-2-1 right away. 2 jab. Backdashing a bit, seeing what Raef will do, and then he just makes a mistake, right? Down 2-1 gets low parried, but how does Lowhigh respond to getting low parried? What happened here? Yep, he's just moving out of the wall. Yes, Laser Scraper is a thing, but he's willing to play getting off the wall. Plays a, you know, QCF1, rocket launcher. And he gets counter hit here. He's going to eat this combo. How does he play after this combo? He tries to go for a stomp on wake up. Do you see this? He tries to go for a stomp on wake up. Like, that is so aggressive. I love it. Shimmying a little bit before doing the mid. Stomps again. He's not afraid. He's not afraid at all. One jab gets evaded. Confident rage, right? So, like, look at how fast he's playing. Even when he's just moving, he's moving forward. He's threatening an attack timing. When he's moving backwards, he's clearly looking for the back 1 timing now, right? Now, contrast that to how these rounds went here. Raef is up 2-0. And yes, he's throwing the back 1s, which is, or down forward 1s, which I think is good. I think we should have seen more peekaboo down 1, the QCF2 as well. But Raef starts answering in a really nasty way. Look at this interaction. 2-1 from Jin, threatening the 3rd hit. And then he does the 3rd hit, right? Down forward 1 is blocked. And then after this low is a key interaction point, okay? He's -1 on hit, so Steve technically has his turn. So Raef answers with a quick sidestep duck that beats the back 1. Down forward 1 is hard to track this situation. And it gives Raef this while standing 4-4. So now Raef gets a low poke, and Steve can't really answer after the fact in a consistent way. Jin has so many ways to blow him up. Again, counter hit down 2, Blackwing Rondo, forward 2, things like that. So if Steve decides to delay and try and catch the sidestep, Raef can always just attack again. And that's what we see happens. We start to see just a ton of 2-1. 2-1. And Lowhigh doesn't want to interact with the third hit. Technically, he can take his turn. Jin's turn is over if he does 2-1, right? Jin 2-1, -3 on block. So it's a really nasty string, right? Yes, Lowhigh can jab, but that risks losing to the third hit on delay. So Raef decides to play the cheapest string possible, which is smart, which is good. And then he starts playing some down forward 1s and 1-2s. And building up that permanent health damage while Lowhigh is trying to find the perfect time to attack is costing him so much, right? This is an unfortunate mistake, but now look at how Raef continues to play. Right? Whiffing down back 4 from huge range, because the threat of all of his string offense is actually adding up. Lowhigh can't manage the reactions to the lows, the whiff punishes, and everything else while trying to figure out how to get around this dude doing all these strings. And I think Steve can do the same thing. 1-2-1 sway, down forward 1 sway, down forward 1-2. Nobody likes dying for doing a string like that, especially Korean players. But you can see how effective it can be, right? You can see how effective it is at generating pressure. And sure, Jin and Steve are different characters, right? But the Swindler had been working on Raef. The back 1-2-1 into the mid launch. Beautiful low block. And this is, again, look at that situation here. 2-1. He punishes here, right? Steve is +3, right? He tries to down forward 1, and Jin just calmly sidesteps it to the right. So even if he tried to up back 2 to track it, what has Raef been doing? Sidestep duck. So the best option here sometimes is to do nothing, but then you let Raef take control again. That's why Steve is a little harder to pilot in this game. And I think the only answer that I've been able to see so far is how Pakistani Steves are playing, right? Pakistani Steves are playing completely crazy, like going into stances, doing like launch punishable lows over and over, just so it's harder to tell when Steve is going to do what he wants to do. Because if you try to play this consistent style of Steve, I think Tekken 8 offense is too strong. In Tekken 7, Steve could defend, and be winning the whole time. In Tekken 8, strings are too good, like canned mix-ups are too good. You have to be the one actually driving. You can't sit there and play off your counter hit threat, especially when Raef has shown he's not afraid to die. And here's another situation. 1-2, there's the 1-2-4, the high, and 1-2-3, the mid. Lowhigh never interacts with this string. So Raef can forward dash after the fact and then do a down 4. Look at how long Lowhigh is really sitting still there, right? 1-2, forward dash, down 4, right? Like, the reason why people don't just do that all the time is because 1-2 is minus on block. And it's hard to fight someone like Raef who will do the strings sometimes and not do the strings other times. So rather than trying to guess, should I block high? Should I block low? Should I interrupt? Maybe it's better to be the one attacking, right? And I think game 1 was the perfect example of that. Lowhigh, sure, he sat still sometimes or didn't attack, but he was threatening his other attacks. Here, he's clearly trying to defend, and Raef is abusing that by just running strings over and over again. Partial string, threatening the extension, and just getting small clips of damage here and there. 1-3, back 2-1, right? Partial string here, 1-2. Like, he's almost not afraid of getting mixed up. He's almost not afraid of getting counter hit. He's just going in and doing his strings. And Lowhigh kind of does it back here, right? But at this point, with this life deficit, Jin is completely winning. Not just in HP, but in like situational priority, right? If Lowhigh tries to take a risk now, he insta-dies. So it came down to this really clutch back 1, and we labbed this situation. This is actually winnable. After this float, Lowhigh can convert this into a combo, and that's what made this really sad. And that's probably what he was upset about too, is this is comboable. But he tried to go for the safe option, I believe, get a Sonic Fang that would have wall splatted, but the sidewall was in the way. You can't Rage Art here. You can't You can't Rage Art, and you can't do Peekaboo up forward 2. To do this combo, this is the last thing I'll show for now. If you want to beat Jin here, right? So what I'm going to do is just poke his ass so he gets up. I'm going to Sonic Fang him. You have to do this, and then he probably could have Rage Arted, right? That's probably the way to end that combo. But that situation is so specific. Lowhigh isn't solo maining Steve in this game, so having that kind of combo awareness is really, really hard. Top 24 on stage. It's really hard to fault somebody for missing that. It's just a shame knowing that that was the possibility. Tough set. Obviously, very well played, very well composed by Raef. And Tekken 8 is really, really hard. That's what I really wanted to emphasize here, is Tekken 8 is insanely hard. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did. Leave a comment if you think I missed something, or if you have nothing to say, leave an emoji. That helps me a ton. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.